now we move on to another important question. Okay, let us look into this question carefully. A nurse is caring for an infant of tentative diagnosis of congenital pyloric stenosis. What is the most important for the nurse to assess? Okay, so a paramedical staff nurse is carrying an infant with a tentative diagnosis of congenital pyloric stenosis. बच्चे को हो सकता है कि congenital pyloric stenosis है. And what is the most important fact or work or duty that a nurse to do to assess this child? Okay, whether she has to look into the quality of the cry, whether she has to look into the signs of dehydration, or whether she has to look into some of the feeding difficulties, child is coughing during feeding, or whether she has to look into characteristics of the stool. Yes. That means you have a patient of congenital pyloric stenosis, and when you are monitoring this child, on which factor actually you have to concentrate? A child with a pyloric stenosis, did a child with pyloric stenosis will have a different type of cry? Is it possible? Or will a child with pyloric stenosis will have dehydration? Or will a child with the congenital stenosis will have feeding problems? Or whether there is a change in the stool quality in a child with congenital pyloric stenosis? Which is the answer? First of all, you should know what is the congenital pyloric stenosis. Congenital pyloric stenosis is a condition where the pyloric part of the stomach is get affected. Pyloric canal is get stenosed. The reason is because of absence of the ganglions in that particular area. So pyloric canal will be get partially closed or completely closed. The reason is again congenital absence of or hereditary absence of ganglionic cells which are present in this particular segment. Yes, what is the most probable answer? Okay, we will look into it. So what is the most probable answer that we will see? Now if you look into this picture, there is a stenosis of the pyloric part that is above the first part of the duodenum. If you look into this picture, this is the stomach and this is actually the pyloric part, and this is a barium meal x-ray. Okay, so child has been given with the barium meal. So barium meal is filling the whole stomach, but when it is passing through the pyloric canal over here, so what is happening? Only a string sign is seen, just like a string. This is called a string sign. Okay, string is seen. और उसके बाद यहाँ पे वापस फुल है. मतलब ये वाला जो यहाँ पे जो ल्यूमेन है वो नैरो हो चुका है. जो एरो मार्क यहाँ पे दिया है, so that indicates this portion is narrowed. Okay, so therefore the lumen is very very narrow. So this is a portion of pyloric stenosis. This is a portion of the pyloric stenosis that happens because of the muscles which are present over here. So they don't have any ganglions. Okay, aganglionic. Okay, and because of which there is no peristaltic movement generated over this particular area. And as a result of that, so there is a hypertrophy of the muscles leading to the stenosis of the lumen. Okay, stenosis of the lumen. This is what is actually happening. Now it is also seen that a case of congenital pyloric stenosis, mostly the males are affected. The reason we don't know. Okay, incidence wise, if you see, the male babies are most commonly get affected. Okay, so and what is very characteristic is, so what happens when you are giving the feed comes and collect over here, but gastric emptying is not taking place normally. Okay, because there is a blockage. So whatever feed you are giving, that is collect over the abdomen, and when the feed is full of the stomach is full of the feed, then there is a mechanical distension, and as a result the feed will be omitted out. And this particular omitting, as shown over here in the last picture, that is projectile omitting. Okay, it's a projectile omitting. That omitting is very very projectile omitting. Okay, so projectile omitting is seen in case of pancreatitis, and second one most commonly it is seen in case of congenital pyloric stenosis. Projectile means बहुत दूर जाके गिरता है. One thing. Second is द फीड विच इज गिवन 24 आवर्स बैक, जो 24 आवर्स का पहले जो आपने फीड दिया वो भी जो है अभी वोमिटिंग होके जा रहा है, मतलब यहाँ से वो गैस्ट्रिक एम्प्टिंग इज नॉट हैपनिंग. Okay, there is problem for the gastric emptying, therefore feed gets stagnated here only, and then later it get omitted out. Later it get omitted out. And if you see this is a string sign. Okay, so this particular string sign in barium meal X-ray is very characteristic of a pyloric stenosis. If you look into the second picture, again one more barium meal finding. So double track sign is seen here. Okay, double track sign. So you can get a double track sign here. So this is also common, and another is mushroom sign. Okay, so ये जो है ना यहाँ पे ये जो फर्स्ट पिक्चर में देखो ये मशरूम जैसे दिख रहा है ना, स्ट्रिंग और ये नैरो लुमेन और ये वाला पोर्शन मशरूम जैसे दिख रहा है, therefore it is also called as mushroom sign. Okay, so it may be double track sign, or it may be what do you say, mushroom sign, or it may be string sign. All the three are seen in case of a congenital pyloric stenosis. Okay, now very important is when lot of vomiting is happening, so whatever the electrolytes which are present in the stomach is also get omitted out, isn't it? So we know that stomach contains acidic substances, isn't it? Stomach contains H plus ions, HCl is there. Stomach contains sodium ions. Sodium also contains chlorine ions. Okay, some amount of the calcium is also there. Okay, potassium is also there to some extent, not more, some extent it is there. So now when the baby is vomiting, what actually happening is all these acidic substances which is present in the stomach, that is also get omitted out. Okay, that is also get omitted out. So now basically the child is suffering from alkalosis. Okay, that means when acidic substances are less in the blood, including the stomach से loss हो गया तो blood में भी वो reflect होगा. So when acidic substances are lost more, carbonates, H plus ions, and then some other calcium ions, etc., when they lost more, so in the blood the alkaline substances will go into increase. Alkaline substances will go into increase. So this leads to alkalosis. Okay, it's called as hypochlorohydric alkalosis with paradoxical aciduria, that we will see later. That means in the body, in the blood there is alkalosis, but in the urine there is aciduria. So that we will see later on in detail. Okay, but you have to remember the dehydration which occur. Okay, in case of pyloric stenosis, there will be dehydration definitely because of vomiting, and there is dehydration along with alkalosis. ओके, सो ये एक टिपिकल कंडीशन है, बिकॉज स्टोमक से जो है कंटेंट्स लॉस हो रहा है, एसिडिक सब्सटेंस वगैरह लॉस हो रहा है, देयरफॉर. ओके, सो दिस इज वन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट यू शुड नो अबाउट पाइलोरिक स्टेनोसिस. अदर सम ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज this is because of the stimulation of the renin angiotensin aldosterone stimulation. Now जो लास्ट में मैंने जो बताया कि there is alkalosis in the blood, achlorohydric hypo और achlorohydric alkalosis along with the acidic urine. blood में जो है alkalosis है, यूरिन में जो है acidic है. ये कैसे हो सकता है? This is because of stimulation of the renin angiotensin aldosterone system. Okay, so this leads to, that means when this is happening, when alkalosis is going on or alkalosis is there in the blood, as a reflex phenomena, what happens is renin angiotensin aldosterone system is get stimulated. renin angiotensin aldosterone ये सब वाटर को रिटेन करने वाला पता है, वो सब सिस्टम है. This leads to retention of the sodium and water. Okay, as this aldosterone or antidiuretic hormone, so they work in a different way, opposite way. So this leads to retention of the sodium. जब aldosterone, देखो जब अगर एंटीडायरेटिक हार्मोन है तो वाटर को वापस मैंने डायूरेसिस होने से बचाएगा, वाटर को रिटेंशन करेगा. ओके, सो नाउ this leads to the retention of sodium and water and causes excretion of the potassium H plus ions leading to aciduria. ये थोड़ा उल्टा होता है. ओके, सो एल्डोस्टेरोन सिस्टम ये होने से जो सोडियम का एब्जॉर्प्शन ज़्यादा हो जाता है. सोडियम के एब्जॉर्प्शन ज़्यादा होते ही वाटर का एब्जॉर्प्शन भी ज़्यादा होता है, क्योंकि दे आर इंटर रिलेटेड. ओके, दे आर बेस्ट फ्रेंड्स. एंड दिस कॉजेस, जब सोडियम का एब्जॉर्प्शन हो रहा है तो उसका बदले में पोटासियम जो है ल्यूमेन में वापस आ गया. Okay, lumen में there is excretion of the potassium. So what happens is in the blood potassium and H plus ions are less in the blood. So potassium and H plus जो है वो lumen में आ जाता है. That leads to acidity in the urine. Okay, acidity in the urine. Anyway, one of the most common cause which is now estimated for this particular congenital pyloric stenosis is maternal intake of erythromycin. So mother suffering from mother is taking erythromycin for various reasons or any reasons. Okay, so that may predispose congenital pyloric stenosis in the fetus. Okay, so this can lead to this. Is one of the very important thing. Similarly, if the mother is taking lithium during pregnancy, lithium salts, अगर कोई भी mother ले रही है, that leads to another condition which is called Epstein's anomaly. Just for your knowledge, I am telling. That leads to another problem called as Epstein's anomaly. Epstein's anomaly, जिसमें box shaped heart मिलता है, ventricularization of the atria. Ventricles बड़ा हो जाता है, atria को भी cover कर लेता है वो. ठीक है, ventricularization of the abnormal ventricularization of the atrium. So that is called as Epstein's anomaly. Okay, this is possible when mother is taking lithium. When mother is taking erythromycin, congenital pyloric stenosis is possible. You have to remember this. Okay, so now if you look into this particular question, in this case the answer is, so what nurse has to do now? Because projectile vomiting has been taking place, and because of which a lot of dehydration is going on. Okay, electrolytes are lost and dehydration will be there, and that particular dehydration is because dehydration is along with the alkalosis in the body and acidosis in the urine. Okay, so answer is nurse has to look into dehydration due to projectile vomiting. Okay, so child में है voracious hepatite. यहाँ पे एक और है कि congenital pyloric stenosis का जो बच्चा है उसको vomiting हो रहा है, सब कुछ बाहर जा रहा है, बट इसके बाद भी बच्चा जो है voraciously hepatite दिखाता है क्योंकि अंदर कुछ नहीं जा रहा ना इसलिए. ठीक है, voracious hepatite will be there. Can you name some other condition where there will be voracious hepatite? Number one is PM, protein energy malnutrition, marasmus. जब marasmus आता है शुरू में, marasmus में जो initial stage में जो है, so child is having voracious hepatite. Similarly, thyrotoxicosis, another condition where there is a voracious hepatite. भस्मकर होगा, हम जो बोलते हैं भस्मकर रोग. And diabetes 1, polydipsia, polypepsia, ठीक है, polyuria. So there also there is voracious hepatite, बहुत ज़्यादा hepatite. So this is possible. Okay, so this is about this particular question. Hope you understand this.